Hello and welcome to another video. A video of a different sort. It has been brought to my attention that I don't do tech videos, and for very good reason. However, today I'm going to do a tech video. A review if you like. So today I'd like to talk about the Sony FX6. Okay, to clear up a few things. One, my reviews on kit are for those who intend to use it. I'm not being paid by the company to do any review. I did not get one for free in order for me to say whatever it is they want me to say, and the opinion that I will express about anything I talk about in my channel is entirely my own. I have no apologies for how I put it across, and if I think something is shit, I will tell you. If I think something is awesome, I will also tell you. However, both of those are based entirely on subjective opinion, because what's for me is not necessarily for you, and if I think it's great, that doesn't necessarily mean that it is great. It just means it's great for my purpose. The reason I'm going to do this is because I have a Sony FX6. Yes, it's true. I have one of the smaller, more affordable cinema cameras. It's not my first by any stretch of the imagination. Anybody who follows this channel will know that I have shot on a Panasonic EVA 1, and given I work in TV, I shoot on all sorts of cameras. This just happens to be one that I own. TV, very much like the Sony brand of camera, and cameramen still use the PXW500, which, if you don't know, is a Sony camera that still operates only in HD, and it has S/S cards as its preferred medium. It's a very old camera, but it's still a workhorse, and to pick one up today will still cost you in the region of 17 grand. Now, more modern programs, more run and gun, documentary, off the shoulder stuff, the PXW500 is still good for that one. However, a lot of TVs moved into the FS7, Sony FS7, or even the F55 or the FS5, a lot of alphanumerical names, but still, these cameras have a particular quality, which is why TV likes them. Now, when I apply for jobs, or somebody's looking for a camera operator, or they're looking for a director, or a PD, or whatever, they normally ask, can shoot on a Sony system of some description. And if you've had any experience in it, you're always kind of considered for it. There's also the option if you have your own kit as well. And if you have your own Sony rig, that's always pretty tasty, because it means the production company then don't have to worry about where they're hiring it in, and they don't have to worry about giving the camera tech to somebody that's not theirs and don't know what they're doing. More so in the last year because of coronavirus, because the protocols have dictated that any kit that's touched by any one operator has to be completely wiped down before being passed on. So rental of gear has just been a wee bitty on the weird side. But if you've got your own gear, that makes things 100 times better. That's just the backstory, basically. I had to buy a new camera because other people don't recognise other brands. Yes, that's why. It's a stupid reason, and I agree it's a stupid reason. So, Sony FX6, here we are. What makes this different from the EVA 1? Other than the fact that it is made by Sony and not Panasonic, it's full frame. That is the only difference, as far as I'm concerned. It's the only difference. In terms of build quality, shape, weight, look, design, monitor, microphone inputs, internal ND, yeah, they're exactly the same. It's grey. It has a handle, so did the EVA 1. It's a camera. It films up to 4K, 120 frames per second, but not at full sensor readout. Not that anybody really cares, because nobody shoots in 4K 120. It shoots 280 frames per second in HD, 1080, but again, nobody does that. Who is it for? Well, it's for working individuals, people who would do documentary-based filmmaking, interviews, talking heads, Large drones, this could go on a Ronin MX, which could go on to the DJI S200 octocopter. You could fly that, yeah, you could do that. It'd be very expensive though. If it's a $3.5 camera. We are currently on the 16-35 G Master lens, which is 2.8 at its sharpest, which is I think what we're on just now. Yeah. And that's it. Should you buy it? Well, do you shoot documentaries? Do you work in TV? Do you do talking heads? Do you do brand ads? Do you work for any sort of commercial interviews or auditorium style filming products, events? Then yes, totally. Are you a YouTuber? Are you a landscaper or any sort of normal person who just goes out for a bit of fun with a camera to film random things and put it together in a sort of closely knit narrative that just gets fired up on YouTube for everybody to look at and hopefully give you a bit of validation on what you do? Then no, it's far too inexpensive, the camera. Unless you're made of money, in which case, then yes, buy it just for the sake of buying it, which then you come under the GAS terminology or the gear acquisition syndrome, because somebody in America and Canada has been given this camera by the company to tell you that it's awesome and that you should buy it, and then a week later tell you should buy its big brother or little brother, depending on whether it's the FX9 or the FX3. I will tell you to do no such thing. In fairness, I do have an FX9 coming, so I have the two cameras working simultaneously, but then I'm going to validate that with as a business expense, because it's to run my business. MMCM Media is a limited company now, and I am taking on productions, specifically a documentary, 5-part documentary series I'm going to be shooting in Glasgow about the good people of Maryhill, and I require good cameras for that. And in fairness, my EVA one would have been absolutely fine for that. In fact, my GH5 okay, it's a Micro Four Thirds system, but it shoots 4K. It has interchangeable lenses, and you can, well, you know, you can shoot RAW out of this as well if you're willing to plug in what do you call those things again? A monitor, like an Atomos Inferno, which I have. So I can actually shoot 422 10-bit RAW from this camera into an external monitor, which is way more than what TV requires, because TV and a lot of programs that I work on still only shoot in 1080p, 25 frames per second, 50 sometimes if they're feeling crazy. But invariably, in all the shows that I've worked on in all my years in TV, I've only ever once shot in 4K on a camera, and that was for Discovery. And they provided the camera, and they provided the cine lenses as well, because they knew exactly what look it was they were after. Everybody else shoots 1080. The people that get given these cameras to test out don't test them in a real life environment. They just get them, they show you them, and then tell you all about it and say, wow, it's the best camera I've ever used. Really? How did you work that one out? How did you film that in a setting that was indeed indicative of its ability and its output? You didn't. You just sat in your office and then you went out in the back garden and you filmed some flowers close up, or you filmed your niece running about the garden. Take it out and apply it to your work. Go out and shoot actually something that is earning you some money to pay for the camera. That's the other side of this coin as well, is that I don't have money for cameras like this. I have to, if I buy a camera like this, I then have to find the work to pay for it, because if I don't, it's going back, because there's other things I have to pay for, and they are 7 and 4 shortly, and they cost a fortune. I will take this and I will use this in a real world environment, and I'll let you know how it goes, because I've got documentaries to film with this camera, and I'm going to find out pretty sharpish if it was good or if it wasn't. I used my EVA 1 and I shot a documentary last year and I loved it. It worked, it did everything I wanted to do. It was light and had great battery life, and it did exactly what I needed to do, and I didn't nearly use half of all the things that was on it, because at the end of the day, it's the story that matters, and as long as it looks good. And it did, it looked good, and the story was amazing, because it was real and it was true and it was about facts and not made up. So there you go. So anyway, I know that was a bit of a long-winded kind of review, and a very odd review at that. I'm not entirely too sure if it is a review. It's really just a musing. Mikey's musings, if you will. Does it fit into your brand? Does it fit into what you want to do? Yes, no. That's the only two questions you really have to ask yourself. If it does, buy it. If it doesn't, don't buy it. And buy what does fit into your brand. And that's it. End of story. If Sony want to give me a camera to test it out in real life, I will go and happily shoot some TV programs with it and see if it's any good. Albeit that the FX9 is probably bang on for all that. But I'm having to buy one. Thanks Sony. You could have just sent me one. But anyway. I'm not gonna demand things. Who am I with my 570 subscribers? I'm a nobody. But it's fine because I don't make these videos for other people's validation. I make these videos because I want to make these videos. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope it wasn't too ranty, and I will see you all on the next one.